First Contact's price. The stars held no warning of humanity's greatest trial. When the Crack's warships first appeared in Earth's orbit, they brought with them not greeting or diplomacy, but devastation. Admiral Elena Santos stood on the bridge of the EDS Vigilant, watching helplessly as the alien vessels tore through Earth's defensive fleet like paper. Multiple hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. The damage control officer reported, his voice steady despite the chaos. Kinetic barriers failing. Elena's grip tightened on the command rail. The Crack's ships moved with impossible precision, their crystalline hulls refracting weapon fire, while their own beams cut through human shields with terrifying efficiency. 20 years of military service hadn't prepared her for this moment. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, and it had to be with the most aggressive species in the galaxy. Ma'am, Beijing Station is gone. Sydney Station reporting critical damage. Lieutenant Park's voice cracked as he delivered the news. They're not just attacking our ships. They're targeting civilian populations. The bridge fell silent save for the wail of damage alerts. Through the view screen, Elena watched another defense platform explode, its debris joining the growing cloud of destroyed human vessels. The Cracks weren't just winning. They were demonstrating complete technological superiority. "Get me Fleet Command," Elena ordered, her mind racing through options. "And bring up tactical display of all remaining vessels." The holographic display flickered to life, showing the pitiful remainder of Earth's defense force. Dozens of red dots representing Crack's vessels methodically moved through their formations, while blue markers for human ships winked out one by one. Admiral Santos, Fleet Admiral Chen's hologram appeared, his face ashen. Status report. "Sir, we've lost 40% of our orbital defenses. The enemy shield technology renders our conventional weapons nearly useless. We need to evacuate as many civilians as possible to the deep space colonies." A violent shake rocked the bridge as another blast struck the Vigilant. "Structural integrity at 30%. Someone shouted. "Agreed," Chen nodded grimly. "But we need to buy time. The evacuation will take hours, even with every available ship." Elena studied the tactical display, an idea forming. It was desperate, possibly suicidal, but they were out of options. "Sir, request permission to execute Protocol Omega." Chen's eyes widened. Protocol Omega was a last resort tactic, using a ship's fusion core as an improvised nuclear device. "Granted. Godspeed, Admiral." Elena turned to her crew, pride swelling in her chest, despite the dire situation. "All hands, this is the Admiral. Initiate emergency evacuation procedures. Get to the escape pods." She held up her hand as her bridge crew began to protest. "That's an order. It's been an honor serving with you all." As her crew reluctantly abandoned their posts, Elena began the complicated process of overriding the Vigilant's fusion core safeties. The ship shuddered continuously now, its shields completely gone. "Core overload in 3 minutes," the computer announced emotionlessly. Elena watched the tactical display as escape pods launched from the Vigilant, carrying her crew to relative safety. The Crack ships, perhaps sensing something amiss, began to pull back from her position. "Not so fast," she muttered, engaging the emergency thrusters. The Vigilant lurched forward, pushing deeper into the heart of the Crack's formation. Warning messages flooded her screens as the ship's systems failed one by one. "Core overload in 1 minute." Elena sent a final transmission to Fleet Command. "This is Admiral Santos. Tell Dr. Patel at Quantum Research Division. The Crack ships use some kind of crystalline matrix in their hulls. It might be the key to their shield technology. Make it count. 30 seconds to core overload." The Crack ships were definitely retreating now, but it was too late. The Vigilant's fusion core had passed the point of no return. Elena closed her eyes, thinking of her daughter Sarah at the Quantum Research Facility on Mars. "Give them hell, kiddo." The Vigilant's fusion core detonated with the force of a small sun. The explosion caught 3 Crack's capital ships in its radius, their crystalline hulls shattering under the combined effects of the blast and electromagnetic pulse. The remaining alien vessels immediately pulled back to a defensive formation, giving Earth's evacuation ships the opening they desperately needed. In the aftermath of what would become known as the First Contact War, humanity learned two crucial lessons. First, they were not alone in the universe. Second, they were hopelessly outmatched by alien technology. But Admiral Santos's final discovery about the cracked ship's crystalline technology would prove to be the seed of humanity's eventual salvation. As the survivors regrouped in the deep space colonies, Dr. Sarah Santos Podol stared at the sensor data from her mother's final battle, determination etched on her face. "We'll find a way," she whispered, already formulating theories about how the crystalline technology might be adapted. "We'll make them pay." The war had only just begun, and humanity had paid a terrible price for their first lesson in interstellar combat. But as they would prove in the years to come, humans had an unmatched talent for learning from their defeats and turning them into victories. Project Helios. 5 years after the devastating First Contact War, Mars base Olympus had transformed from a fledgling research outpost into humanity's most advanced scientific facility. Deep within its reinforced laboratories, Dr. Sarah Santos Podol stood before a holographic display of crystalline structures, her mother's final transmission playing in her mind like a constant reminder of their purpose. "The quantum resonance is still unstable," her colleague Dr. Marcus Chen reported, adjusting holographic controls with practiced precision. "Every time we try to replicate the crack's crystal matrix, the atomic structure collapses within minutes." Sarah pushed her graying hair back from her face, studying the failed simulation. For 5 years, they had worked to understand the alien technology that had made the cracked ships nearly invincible. The crystalline matrix that allowed their vessels to manipulate quantum fields had become her obsession, her way of honoring her mother's sacrifice. "We're thinking about this wrong," Sarah muttered, walking through the hologram. "We've been trying to copy their technology exactly. But what if we took a different approach?" She gestured at the display, expanding a section of the crystal structure. "Look at how the matrix channels quantum energy. It's elegant, but it's also rigid, predictable." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "And that's a weakness." "It could be." Sarah's fingers flew across the control panel, modifying the simulation. "The cracks use the crystals to generate quantum fields, but they're limited by the crystal's natural structure. What if we created an artificial matrix that could adapt and change its configuration in real time?" The hologram shifted, showing a new design that pulsed with potential energy. Marcus leaned forward, his eyes widening. "A dynamic quantum matrix. The power requirements would be astronomical." "Not if we use the quantum field itself as the power source." Sarah's voice grew excited as the idea took shape. "The crack's crystals tap into quantum energy, but they waste most of it maintaining their rigid structure. If we could create a flexible matrix that responds to quantum fluctuations instead of fighting them, we could potentially generate self-sustaining quantum fields." Marcus finished her thought, already running calculations. "But the computational requirements would be beyond anything we've built before." Sarah acknowledged. "We'd need to develop new types of quantum computers just to control the matrix." The next 18 months became a blur of breakthrough and setback, triumph and failure. Project Helios, as it was officially designated, drew the brightest minds from humanity's scattered colonies. They worked with desperate determination, knowing that somewhere out there, the cracks were preparing for their next assault. The first prototype was the size of a small car and consumed enough power to run a small city. When they activated it, the device generated a quantum field that lasted exactly 2.3 seconds before catastrophically failing, destroying 3 months of work. But they learned. They adapted. They improved. By the 7th prototype, they could maintain a stable quantum field for up to an hour. By the 12th, they had figured out how to manipulate the field's properties, creating regions where the laws of physics could be selectively altered. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, A junior researcher fresh from the Europa colonies noticed something strange in the field stability data. The fluctuations aren't random, she announced during one late-night research session. Look at this pattern. The quantum field isn't just responding to our matrix. It's trying to optimize itself. Sarah spent 3 days analyzing Yuki's discovery before emerging from her lab with red-rimmed eyes and a triumphant smile. We don't need to control the quantum field, she declared to her assembled team. We need to guide it. The mathematics show that quantum fields naturally seek the most efficient configuration. If we design our matrix to work with this tendency instead of against it. The implications were staggering. A properly designed quantum matrix wouldn't just generate stable fields. It would create self-sustaining, self-optimizing quantum environments that could be shaped for any purpose. Propulsion, shields, weapons, the possibilities were endless. Project Helios entered its final phase. While the research team refined their breakthrough, engineers began the monumental task of scaling up the technology for military applications. In a hidden shipyard carved into Mars's largest moon, Phobos, construction began on humanity's answer to the Crack's threat. The EDS Prometheus would be the first ship equipped with the Helios drive, a quantum matrix large enough to envelope an entire battleship in a controlled quantum field. Its power source would be the quantum field itself, creating a virtually unlimited energy supply as long as the matrix remained intact. Sarah stood in the observation deck of Phobos Station, watching as construction drones swarmed around the massive hull of the Prometheus. Marcus joined her, holding 2 cups of synthetic coffee. The latest simulations are perfect, he reported, handing her a cup. The matrix should be able to maintain stable fields indefinitely. We've even figured out how to extend the field around other ships, though it puts considerable strain on the systems. Sarah nodded, her thoughts drifting to the final transmission from the EDS Vigilant. Mom would have loved to see this. We're not just matching Crack's technology anymore. We're surpassing it. The question is, will it be enough? Marcus asked softly. Our long-range sensors show they're gathering a massive fleet. The attack could come any day now. Sarah's hand tightened around her coffee cup. It has to be enough. We've put everything we have into this project. Every insight, every discovery, every lesson learned from our defeats. She turned to face her friend and colleague. The Cracks think they know humanity's capabilities. They think we're primitive, predictable. They're about to learn just how wrong they are. In the shipyard below, the Prometheus's quantum matrix powered up for another test, bathing the construction bay in an otherworldly blue glow. Soon, humanity would have its chance to prove that even the most advanced alien technology was no match for human ingenuity and determination. The Navigator's Gambit. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood in the Prometheus's bridge, watching her crew run through combat drills for the 20th time that day. After 6 months of intensive training, they moved with practiced efficiency, but the tension in the air was palpable. Everyone knew the stakes of their mission. Quantum matrix simulation complete, announced Lieutenant Emma Chen, the ship's quantum systems officer. Her fingers danced across the holographic controls with practiced precision. Field stability at optimal levels. Maya nodded, studying the readouts on her command display. The Prometheus was unlike any vessel humanity had ever built. Its sleek, obsidian hull housed the revolutionary Helios drive, capable of manipulating quantum fields in ways that would have seemed like magic just a few years ago. But all that technology would mean nothing without a crew capable of wielding it effectively. Navigation, she called out. Status report on the jump calculations. Commander David Patel, their lead navigator and quantum physicist, looked up from his station. His dark eyes held the same focused intensity that Maya had come to associate with his mother, Dr. Sarah Santos Patel. Final computations are complete, Captain. I've mapped out a series of quantum jumps that should put us directly behind the Crack's fleet when they enter the Sol system. Maya approached his station, examining the complex navigational plot. The plan was audacious, perhaps even insane. But after studying years of Crack's battle tactics, They knew conventional strategies would fail. Walk me through it one more time, Commander. David highlighted the projected path on his display. Based on our long-range sensor data, the Krax fleet will arrive through this corridor. A red line appeared, showing the enemy's expected approach vector. They'll be using their standard formation. Heavy warships in the center, escorts on the flanks. Their crystalline technology makes them nearly invulnerable to frontal assault. But not to what we have planned. Maya finished, a grim smile touching her lips. Exactly. David's fingers traced a series of points in the tactical display. The Helios drive gives us capabilities they can't predict. We'll make a series of short quantum jumps, using the gravity wells of Jupiter's moons to mask our signature. When they commit to their attack run, we'll execute the final jump directly into their formation. Lieutenant Sarah Chen spoke up from her station. The quantum field calculations for that kind of precision jumping are incredibly complex, sir. One miscalculation, and we could materialize inside an enemy vessel. That's why we've been running these drills, Maya replied. And why we have the best quantum navigation team in the fleet. She straightened, addressing the entire bridge crew. The Krax think they know everything about human capabilities. Their arrogance is their weakness. A priority alert flashed across the main tactical display. Lieutenant Commander James Wilson, their communications officer, quickly pulled up the message. Captain, flash traffic from Deep Space Monitoring Station Delta. They've detected quantum wake signatures consistent with a large Krax fleet. Estimated time to Sol system arrival, 72 hours. The bridge fell silent as the news sank in. This wasn't another drill. The enemy was coming, bringing with them the same devastating technology that had nearly destroyed Earth 5 years ago. Maya took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. Send word to Fleet Command. Operation Helios is a go. She turned to her crew, seeing the mix of determination and anxiety on their faces. This is what we've trained for. The Prometheus may be just one ship, but we carry with us humanity's greatest achievement and our best hope for survival. Over the next 48 hours, the Prometheus underwent its final preparations. The quantum matrix was charged to full capacity, weapon systems were checked and rechecked, and the crew ran through their assignments with grim determination. In her quarters, Maya reviewed the personnel files of her bridge crew one last time. They were an extraordinary group, each chosen not just for their technical skills, but for their ability to think creatively under pressure. They would need every ounce of that creativity for what was to come. David Patel's file drew her attention. As both their lead navigator and a quantum physicist, he would be crucial to the success of their mission. But Maya knew he carried an additional burden, the weight of his family's legacy. His mother had helped create the technology that made the Prometheus possible, and his aunt had died fighting the Krax in the First Contact War. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. Captain to the bridge, the computer announced. Priority message from Fleet Command. When Maya arrived on the bridge, the tactical display showed a sobering sight. The Krax fleet had been detected entering the outer solar system, over 400 ships strong. Their crystalline hulls reflected the distant sunlight, creating an eerily beautiful spectacle of death. They're earlier than expected, David reported, already adjusting their jump calculations. But the plan can still work. We'll need to modify our timing slightly. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Lieutenant Chen's voice cut through the bridge. They're not just approaching from one vector. The Krax fleet is splitting into 3 battle groups. Maya's mind raced as she assessed the tactical situation. The enemy was adapting, changing the strategy that had worked for them countless times before. Perhaps they weren't as predictable as humanity had hoped. Show me the new attack vectors, she ordered. The tactical display updated, showing the Krax fleet splitting into 3 massive formations, each approaching from a different angle. Their original plan, to strike at the heart of a single formation, would no longer work. David was already running new calculations, his fingers flying across his console. Captain, I have an idea. It's risky, but... He looked up, his eyes bright with the same innovative spirit that had driven his mother's research. What if we used their new formation against them? Quantum dance. Maya leaned over David's station, studying his hastily drawn tactical plot. Explain. The cracks split their fleet to attack from multiple vectors, but they're still using their crystalline technology to maintain formation integrity. If we time it right, we can use our quantum field to disrupt all three groups simultaneously. Lieutenant Chen's eyes widened as she followed the math. The resonance cascade, if we match our quantum field frequency to their crystal matrix. Exactly, David nodded. We won't need to attack each group individually. We can create a quantum interference pattern that affects them all at once. Maya straightened. Considering the implications, it was arguably even riskier than their original plan, but it might be their only chance. How long do you need to calculate the necessary jump coordinates? 20 minutes, maybe 15. David was already deep in the calculations, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. You have 10, Maya replied, turning to address her crew. Battle stations. This is not a drill. The Prometheus hummed to life around them, its quantum matrix spinning up to full power. Maya could feel the subtle vibration through the deck plates as humanity's most advanced technology prepared for its first real combat test. Crack's fleet continuing their approach, Lieutenant Wilson reported. First wave will be in weapons range of Earth's outer defense platforms in 45 minutes. Maya nodded grimly. Lieutenant Chen, begin quantum field modulation sequence. Match frequencies to the Crack's crystal matrices. She turned to her tactical officer. Commander Reyes, power up all weapons systems, but hold fire unless I give the order. We want them to think we're just another human warship until the last possible moment. The minutes ticked by with excruciating slowness as David refined his calculations. The main view screen showed the approaching Crack's formations, 3 massive wedges of crystalline warships, their hulls gleaming with deadly purpose. Calculations complete, David announced finally. Plotting final jump coordinates now. Maya took a deep breath. Sound battle stations. All hands, secure for quantum jump sequence. The Prometheus's quantum drive hummed to life, building to a crescendo that Maya felt in her bones. This was the moment that would determine humanity's fate. Everything they'd learned, everything they'd built, had led to this. Quantum field stable, Chen reported. Matrix at 100% capacity. Weapons ready, Rides added. All systems nominal. Maya met David's eyes and nodded. Execute jump sequence. Reality twisted around them as the Prometheus made its first jump, appearing briefly near Jupiter before vanishing again. Each jump brought them closer to their target, using the gravity wells of planets and moons to mask their approach, just as they'd practiced countless times. The final jump put them exactly where they needed to be, in the precise geometric center of the 3 Cracks formations. Now, Maya ordered, full power to the quantum field. The Prometheus's Helios drive roared to life, extending its quantum field in a rapidly expanding sphere. As the field reached the nearest Crack ships, their crystalline hulls began to resonate with an otherworldly hum. It's working, Chen reported excitedly. Their crystal matrices are responding to our field. On the tactical display, Maya watched as ship after ship was caught in their quantum interference pattern. The Crack's vessels, their own technology turned against them, began to lose formation integrity. They're trying to compensate, David reported, his hands flying over his controls. Adjusting field frequency to match. The space around the Prometheus lit up with energy as hundreds of Crack ships found their crystalline technology suddenly working against them. Their precise formations began to break apart as quantum resonance cascaded through their fleet. Multiple Crack's vessels reporting critical system failures, Wilson announced. They're hailing us. Maya allowed herself a small smile. On screen. The alien face that appeared was unlike anything in humanity's records, not the insectoid Crack's warriors that fought before, but something else entirely. Its crystalline features shifted with obvious agitation. "This is impossible," the alien commander stated, its translated voice thick with disbelief. "You are a primitive species. You cannot have mastered quantum field manipulation at this level." "Clearly," Maya replied calmly, "you need to update your intelligence on human capabilities. Stand down your fleet, or we'll be forced to increase power to our quantum field. I don't think your ship's crystal matrices would survive that." The alien commander's features rippled with what might have been fear. Around them, more cracked ships were falling into disarray, their once impervious technology now their greatest weakness. "You would destroy us? After you attacked Earth without provocation," Maya finished. "Killed millions of our people. No. Unlike you, we're offering you a chance to surrender. I suggest you take it." The command center fell silent as they waited for the aliens' response. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, decided not by the size of their fleets or the power of their weapons, but by humanity's ability to understand and improve upon their enemy's own technology. New dawn. For several tense moments, only the hum of the Prometheus's quantum drive broke the silence. Then, slowly, the crystalline features of the alien commander shifted into what might have been resignation. "We accept your terms," the alien said finally. "Stand down all weapons," it added, addressing its fleet. "The humans have won this day." Maya kept her expression neutral, though her heart raced with triumph. "A wise decision. Have your ships power down their crystal matrices and prepare to receive boarding parties. We'll begin negotiations for Captain." Lieutenant Chen's voice cut through the moment of victory. Quantum surge detected in the enemy flagship. "They're trying to." The alien commander's image flickered. "If we cannot have victory, neither shall. Reroute all power to the quantum field." Maya ordered instantly. "David, calculate a containment barrier. Now." The bridge crew moved with practiced precision, their training taking over. The Prometheus's quantum matrix hummed louder as it responded to their commands, extending its field around the Crack's flagship just as its crystal matrix went critical. "Quantum containment holding," Chen reported, her fingers dancing across her controls. "But their cascade reaction is building exponentially." David's voice was steady despite the strain evident on his face, adjusting field harmonics to dampen the reaction. "If I can match the resonance frequency." On the tactical display, the Crack's flagship pulsed with dangerous energy, its desperate attempt at a suicide attack contained within the Prometheus's quantum field. Other Crack ships were rapidly backing away, perhaps finally understanding just how completely humanity had mastered their technology. "Reaction stabilizing," Chen announced after several tense seconds. They're standing down, Captain. All ships." Maya allowed herself to breathe again. "Send word to Fleet Command. The Crack's fleet has surrendered. Request immediate support for prisoner processing and ship impoundment." She turned to her tactical officer. "Keep weapons locked on all targets. I don't want any more surprises." As the adrenaline of battle faded, the magnitude of what they'd accomplished began to sink in. Not only had they defeated a technologically superior force, but they'd done it without destroying a single enemy vessel. Humanity's first major victory in space hadn't come through superior firepower, but through innovation and understanding. The next few weeks were a blur of diplomatic meetings, technical debriefings, and strategic planning sessions. The truth about the Cracks emerged gradually through interrogations and data recovered from their ships. They weren't the original creators of the crystal technology. They had stolen it from another species centuries ago, using it to build an empire through intimidation and force. Their attack on Earth had been motivated by fear. Their long-range scouts had detected humanity's rapid technological advancement and marked them as a potential future threat. 1 month after the battle, Maya stood in a conference room aboard the Prometheus, now docked at Earth's orbital station. Through the viewport, she could see teams of human and alien engineers working together on the captured Crack's vessels, sharing knowledge that would benefit both species. Dr. Sarah Santos Patul joined her at the window, her eyes bright with unused tears as she watched the cooperation below. Elena would have loved to see this, she said softly, remembering her wife's sacrifice in the First Contact War. We didn't just survive. We changed everything. Maya nodded. The victory had done more than secure humanity's place among the stars. It had forced the cracks to confront the limitations of their militant expansion. The peace treaty that followed included not just Earth, but all the species that had suffered under cracks' aggression. The quantum technology programs are being expanded, Sarah continued. We're already finding peaceful applications, better FTL drives, more efficient power generation, even medical breakthroughs. And the crack scientists who've defected to our side say there's so much more to discover. That's what they never understood about humans, Maya replied. We don't just use technology. We improve it. We make it our own. She turned from the window to face Sarah. Have you heard about the new Joint Research Initiative? Sarah smiled. The Helios Institute. Yes, Fleet Command approved it this morning. We'll be working with scientists from a dozen different species, sharing knowledge and pushing the boundaries of quantum physics. David's already signed up to head the navigation department. As if summoned by his name, David Patil entered the conference room, carrying a stack of data tablets. Captain, Doctor, he greeted them. The first round of modifications to the defense fleet is complete. Every ship in the Sol system now has at least basic quantum field capability. Maya took one of the tablets, scanning the technical specifications. The Prometheus's breakthrough had sparked a technological revolution. Humanity wasn't just catching up to the galactic community anymore. They were helping to lead it into a new era. There's something else, David added, his expression serious. Long-range scouts have detected unusual quantum signatures from beyond the galactic rim. The pattern doesn't match anything in our database or in the cracks records. Sarah and Maya exchanged glances. Once, such news would have brought fear. The threat of another hostile first contact, another devastating war. But now, humanity faced the unknown with confidence born of experience and innovation. Assemble a research team, Maya decided. Whatever's out there, we'll face it the way we always have, with curiosity, determination, and the willingness to learn from every challenge. As she looked back out at the Earth below, Maya reflected on how far they'd come. The quantum technology that had nearly destroyed humanity had become the key to their salvation, transformed by human ingenuity into something greater than its creators had imagined. It was a pattern that would repeat itself throughout human history, taking the impossible, understanding it, improving it, and using it to reach ever greater heights. The stars above no longer held the warning they once did. Instead, they beckoned with the promise of new discoveries, new challenges, and new opportunities for humanity to prove that their greatest strength wasn't in their weapons or their technology, but in their unwavering spirit of innovation and adaptation. The dawn of a new era had arrived, and humanity was ready to help shape it.